She's like an alligator.
Hello everyone and welcome to another edition of Stay Infest. I've got another band interview for you, and this time we welcome James from Knights. Hi James.
Hello there Michael, how are you doing?
I'm good, thanks. Are you well? Surviving after lockdown?
Yeah. Some days are better than others, but I think I'm all right, yeah.
So tell me about the story behind the band name, and particularly the $S at the end.
When my last project ended, the last thing I did was Scarlet Soho, which some people might know, and that was a little while back. And I obviously needed a new name, and Knights is my surname, but when I went through the internet, Knights was already taken by another band. So I didn't want any confusion and that sort of thing. So I thought, well, what's the easiest way for me to keep my own surname? And that was by putting the $sign on. And I didn't quite realize the trouble that would lead to, because there are some websites and Spotify and things that have had a little bit of trouble using it and whatever. But on the whole, it's worked. You know, I think it's just it's up to the internet to catch up with me, and when it does, it'll be a better place. But for now, it's done its job. Yeah.
Exactly, yeah. I'm a big fan of the physical product, so getting your vinyl, getting your CD versus streaming. And I think true fans always like to kind of collect the records or pick one up at the concert anyway. I actually had a question from Wendy, and she was asking about your track, Julia. I think she's kind of interested to know the story behind it or what you can reveal about Julia.
Well, yeah, I mean, I suppose obviously Julia is someone very special to me, and I'm not, or haven't been in the past, the sort of person to write a song that was so kind of direct and to the point, but I was just compelled to, because I was just completely I don't know, it just felt like the right time, and there's so many things that you can only really say with music, and that was my way of saying it.
Lovely. And your new album, Dollars and Cents, one of the standout tracks to me personally is Proving a Point, which I understand was a collaboration with Boytronic. Could you tell us about how that came about and how it worked together to kind of end up with the track we have?
Yeah, it was quite funny because I've worked with Boytronic before on different projects and songs and that kind of thing, but I never got to work directly with Holger, the lead singer. So this came a lot later, and we met each other in Berlin and had coffee, and just we were chatting about the possibility of doing some things together. And it was bizarre, because I think the easiest thing to do would be, oh, well, let's do a song together that just sounds like, you know, every other Boytronic track. But that wasn't really on the agenda. So we thought, well, let's do this weird, I mean, I had the demo anyway. I had the demo on my laptop, and I thought, well, let's do this sort of weird synth pop, hip hop hybrid of a song. So, yeah, and so it was a real tester. And it could have gone horribly wrong. I'm glad it didn't, and because we put a lot of work into it. But I did think, if you put this much work into something and then you don't use it or you don't release it, it would be a tragedy. But lucky for us, it came out pretty well.
Nice one. I mean, coming back to your new record, Dollars and Cents, was it a long time in the making? And how was the sort of studio and recording process?
It's the quickest record I've ever made, ever. And I think that was just a natural thing of Nights being a new project, and just feeling, you know, incredibly excited that songs just flowed very, very quickly. But yeah, I mean, the first, I think 2 or 3 songs were released as singles, which gave me a little head start on the album, really. And then I could put those to one side. And then it was just a case of concentrating on the final 6 or 7. But they came even quicker than the first 3 did. So, but the process was, every track was a little bit different. I worked with some different producers. Sometimes I'd go into a studio. Sometimes I'd just record some things at home and send those to someone to produce. It's a miracle that it sounds like an album, because really it's a bit of a mishmash of different people working on it, different people playing on it. Somehow it worked out, but there must be a thread. There's a theme that runs between every song, and yeah, I really wanted it to sound a particular way, but yeah, when I think back, we probably were lucky, actually.
Well, it's definitely worked. People, the reviews are very strong. People like the kind of energetic synth pop and kind of desirable pop beats of the album. Yeah, well done, James. I actually also had a question from Chris regarding your music video. I think this was for Watch Your Poison. And I think particularly he liked the look and feel of it, this kind of 80s vibe, if that's fair to say. How did that video come about? And it seems that there was a particular strong look you were going for.
Yeah. It was funny. I had this little, still do actually, but I had this sort of phase of really enjoying a lot of those, I suppose, like American sounding mid 80s. Some would say one-hit wonders, you know, but you like Cameo and things like that. And I really like how there's a way at that time that all of the videos, they just had a certain vibe. They all used like this sort of hazy, low res kind of look. You know, I suppose cheesy dancers to some extent, you know, like a certain clothes, certain fashion, but yeah, and I suppose I never got the chance to really experiment with anything like that, and the song required it. You know, the song was screaming to have this, I don't know, slightly decadent, less British than anything I'd done before. It felt more international to me. It just felt a bit more, a bit more up tempo, I suppose.
Yeah, I get that. Yeah. So what about some of the music that you like and influences you? Is there anything in particular that kind of fed into this album, or what do you generally like, such as your one-hit wonders?
Oh God, things like Taylor Dane, you know, things like and Shannon, and these records that come on. And where did that come from? And then you think, well, why wasn't there another one? You know, more to the point, why aren't there more like that? But yeah, there's a few. I mean, I've got a few records here actually, but shall I save those?
No, we can do that. Let's move on to a bit of a desert island disc then. Are these albums that you'd take with you if you were stranded, or if we have another lockdown, you want to make sure you've got these albums with you?
Yeah. There's a couple that I revisited sort of during lockdown. But one I come back to it quite a lot. So there's the Crossing by Big Country, which sounds absolutely nothing like a Knights record, funnily enough, but it's just full of brilliant songs. You know, it's just sort of hit after hit after hit. So I always come back to that one. And that one, my dad introduced me to that years ago. And
Do you have a favourite on that? Do you have a standout artist or track on it?
Probably The Storm, which is this sort of slow building thing with this Ebo guitar at the beginning. And yeah, I mean, it's just, can't explain why I like it even, but it's totally listenable from beginning to end. It's just really, really good. And another one which I came back to, which was weird, was Join Hands. You see that?
Oh yeah, Sushi and the Banshees, yeah.
Yeah, and that was one that definitely listened to a lot, well, years ago, and then just parked it up and didn't come back to it. But having come back to it, I can definitely see that it's, again, not really a Knights thing. I wouldn't say it inspires Knights directly, but who knows? Maybe in the future I could take a few little pointers from it. But it's got something. I think it's probably when Susie and the Banshees sort of actually, I don't know, they could play by then, you know, like really play. So it's got something. Do you want any more? I've got more. I've got so many down here.
Yeah, give us a few more, James. I think so. Susie's a good choice, though. Very punk, very goth as well in places.
Yeah. I suppose these are more the Knights ones. I've got, well, obviously, I've got Boytronic, the working model. Arguably the best Boytronic, although I think the Continental is probably just as good. And that's got the hit. That's got You on it. It's got Lunar Square, Red Chips, My Baby Lost Its Way. So it's kind of got all the biggies on one record. Good artwork. This is pretty cool. Nice old school photos. So yeah, that's a good one. And and then this one, which is the 12-inch version of Fancy's Slice Me Nice. Do you know that one?
I don't know that one actually. Yeah, the
vinyl
makes me want to listen to it though. It looks great.
Yeah, it's really this one. Like it's just got really good sort of programming, good drum machines, really good sequencers, proper kind of synth pop meets disco, I guess. But I always come back to that one, and if I do DJ sets and things like that, I always come back to that.
So do you DJ quite a bit then? Have you kind of done that in different cities, etc.?
Not as much as I'd like to. I mean, I've done it on and off, but I would like to do more, because it's just great, you know, like being able to play just tracks that have inspired you, which there are so many of that it's just I'd like to do more.
Yeah, and I sense like me as something of a record collector, and I think just going through those choices, how the product itself can be such a beautiful thing, the artwork, the photography, how you treasure it. Yeah, I think, and how you digest it, you know, when you, I mean, I wouldn't say I've never quite been the person, the artwork alone has never made me buy a record, but that said, it's such a big part of it, you know, but it's always music first, artwork second. Exactly, yeah, exactly. So on the streaming services, Gelato has become something of a hit, and it is a delicious pop song in itself. Can you kind of tell us a bit more about it, and how, was it another track that kind of very quickly came to life?
Yeah, probably the quickest ever, that one. And it just came from, I think it was written, I wrote it in the spring, and, you know, it was, again, the album was never meant to be too serious, and it was always meant to be like a lot of fun. And for whatever reason, that day, everything fell into place. And I just thought, I tell you what, I can't remember there ever being a song written about ice cream, or not that I can remember anyway. So I thought, well, I had this rhythm, I had this drum loop, and I just thought, like, this is the one track that could bring the whole album together, and the whole thing will make sense. Need a song about ice cream.
Yeah.
And then lo and behold, it just gives the album, it really kicked it off. The album changes gear, if you like, once that song comes in. It becomes a different beast.
Yeah, bringing in some Italian flair and strong vocals there throughout.
Oh, thanks. Yeah. I mean, that's it. I needed some pace to the album. You know, I needed something quick, and that's how we got it. Cool
stuff. I've got another question from a fan. This is username Cyber666. I don't know their name. They've asked what can Infest fans expect from your live show next year, and maybe tell us a bit more about some of your live gigs.
Well, a lot can happen in a year, couldn't it? So at the moment, I mean, the live show is really quick, really fast, and the energy is just full of, you know, it's just whatever, half an hour or an hour or 45 minutes of kind of chaos. We don't really slow down, you know. There's no acoustic break or anything like that. So it's just, but I think that's because of the situations that we've been in, like, you know, support slots and festivals where you just want to make a really good impact in a short space of time. So yeah, I mean, things could change, but it wouldn't surprise me if by this time next year we're still playing the same way, because that's the way we enjoy playing live, is just to go on a little bit of a journey with whoever's there, and actually bring a little bit of fun into the room, because you know, live performances are a bit. I think they should be a bit playful, and they should, you know, they should. No two gigs should ever be the same, in my opinion. So that's what we're trying to bring to Infest, is something that not only we can remember, but something the audience can remember.
Exactly, yeah. You often get a band doing a tour and they have the set list and they take the set list all around the world, if you like. Well, obviously, it's good to mix it up, do some covers, shake it up a bit. I think that's always good. Can you think back to any concerts you've been to that were really memorable or had an impact on you? Good gig?
Yeah, I mean, I think it's been said. I read somewhere before, and I think it's true to some extent, that for a lot of gigs, the bit you remember is how the band come on stage and how they leave. And so everything in the middle of that is, to some extent, noise. You know, it's just bravado and noise, but how they enter and how they leave is massive. It's huge. But the ones you remember most are often, I suppose, when things go wrong or things get better because they went wrong. You know, so I can remember once I did go and I saw a Mark Almond gig at the Roundhouse in London, where I think in the second or third song, he had this music stand with all of the lyrics on. And halfway through a song, the whole thing just sort of unfolded and collapsed on the floor in a heap. And there's this like almighty crash. And being Mark, I think he just didn't take it that well at all. He was just like, it's a nightmare. And he stormed off stage. But in the sort of 5 or 10 minutes before he came back on, there was this sort of murmuring, you know, like, and this uncomfortable feeling in the audience that you could feel, like it was like bubbling away and bubbling away. And then when he finally came out, there was this eruption, you know, like, I don't know, like someone had scored in the World Cup, or, you know, it was just like this release of negative energy into positive energy. But you wouldn't have got that at any other gig. You know, it was just that moment that something so bad had turned into something quite positive. So.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
So we all look forward to seeing you live next year. In the meantime, where can fans find your music, or where should we head to online for nights?
I mean, the best place is Bandcamp, because like the back catalogue is there. Absolutely everything is there. But I mean, Spotify is a possibility. What else? Yeah, I mean, yeah, Facebook, all of that. But Bandcamp is probably the best.
Great. And so finally, James, what's your poison?
I tell you what, I think it depends on the mood, doesn't it? But red wine is probably at the top of the list. A nice Chianti, if you will.
And some friends around for dinner, eh?
Oh, yeah. Sounds good.
Sounds good. Thanks so much, James, for being here, and we look forward to seeing you next year. Okay, everyone, another Stay Infest interview. Head over and we'll see what's next. Take care.
Yeah.
You're dynamite to touch. I'll never get enough.